The film opens in Milan at a fashion show. A woman named Lisa moves through the event with easy confidence. Her shoes are on every model, the audience is admiring them, and her husband Peter stands nearby watching her with uncomplicated pride. Their daughter Abigail slips away early, her husband waiting outside. Ralph, Lisa's colleague from the fashion house, tries to convince her not to retire. She has already decided. Later that evening, Peter and Lisa eat together at a restaurant they both love. He orders fish cakes and tells her she won't find them in Milan. She laughs. Over dinner, she asks him whether he has ever wanted to be with another woman. He says no, not once, not seriously. More than half his life has been spent with her. She tells him she loves him. He says it back without hesitation. That night in bed, she begins to say something and then stops herself. 9 months later, the film returns. Peter is alone in the house, moving Lisa's clothes out of her wardrobe. Abigail arrives, sees what he is doing, and tells him she does not want them either. Why is left unexplained, though it will become clear. Lisa's phone is in a drawer. Abigail hands Peter a folded piece of paper that she says their mother asked her to deliver. He opens it. 2 words, Lake Como. That night, a voicemail arrives on Lisa's phone. A man's voice, intimate, unhurried, says he just wants to hear her voice. It has been so long. He knows he should not be calling. He says it twice, slowly, like someone who has rehearsed restraint and abandoned it. Peter sets the phone down and goes upstairs. He cannot sleep. He comes back down and goes through the laptop. Family photographs, then a folder labeled Love, locked with a password he cannot guess. He tries several, none work. He finds pictures from the fashion show, Ralph standing very close to Lisa. He finds emails from a man called Ralph, asking her to leave everything and come back. He reads them through to the end. The next morning, he goes to the fashion house and confronts the colleague Ralph directly. Was there something physical between them? Ralph is offended, denies it, and says something that lands harder than a confirmation. He never understood what Lisa saw in Peter, never thought Peter was right for her. Eleanor, the fashion house owner, takes Peter aside and tells him quietly that there was someone, but it was not Ralph. She does not know who. Peter leaves and goes straight to Abigail. She refuses to believe it. People always loved her mother, she says. He is ashamed of himself for asking. That night, he sends an email from Lisa's address to the address Ralph used in his messages. Lisa is no longer here, he writes, and sends it. The reply comes before morning. The past is still very much alive for us. Your message has made me very happy. Peter sits at his desk and asks his security officer, Eric, who used to be a police officer, where he can get a gun. Eric refuses and immediately warns Gail, but Peter is not finished. He goes to Joy in system security and asks her to trace the email address. Find a name, find an address. She does. The man is called Ralph Cortez. He lives in Milan, on Via Giuseppe Baretti. Peter opens the photo folder one more time and tries Lake Como as the password. It opens. There are photographs of his wife with another man. Restaurants, lakeside walks, a hotel room. He has been loved by her in ways he apparently did not know were still available. He books a flight. In Milan, Peter finds the building and slips through the gate behind another resident. He checks the mailboxes and finds R. Cortez. He waits outside. Eventually, a man comes out, well-dressed, unhurried, confident in the way of someone who has never had to hurry. Peter follows him to a chess cafe, watches him settle at a board, and then does not approach. Not yet. He goes back the next morning before Ralph arrives and sits at Ralph's usual table. When Ralph walks in and tells him that is where he always sits, Peter invites him to play. Ralph agrees. They introduce themselves with first names only. Over the first game, Ralph talks freely. Spanish father, English mother, a cosmopolitan life moving between cities. He does not stay in one place for long. Then Peter mentions he is from Cambridge. Ralph opens immediately. He had a girlfriend who lived in Cambridge, he says, when he was working in fashion. She designed shoes. He first saw her in Milan 12 years ago, walking toward him in red heels. And all he could see at first were the shoes. Then he saw the woman wearing them. And when she spoke to him, it was as though she had always known him. Peter asks when he last saw her. 9 months ago, Ralph says. But he has good reason to hope he will see her again soon. Peter continues to meet him every day. They play chess. Ralph speaks about Lisa without knowing who Peter is. Not by name at first, just as the most beautiful woman in the world, the shoe designer, the one he could never quite hold on to. He describes a day at a shoe factory when she tried to end things, and he pulled her onto the floor and danced with her in front of the workers until she was laughing and the workers were applauding. He describes nights in the rain. Peter sits across from him and absorbs it all, keeping his face composed. After one session, he walks away and visits the basement of the building, follows a sound, and finds Ralph in a small room beside a janitor's closet, kneeling over a tiny turtle he found abandoned at the building entrance. There is a hammer on the wall. Peter picks it up. Ralph turns his back to him. Peter stands there with the hammer for a long moment, then puts it down and holds the turtle when Ralph offers it. He hands it back and leaves. Abigail has tracked him to Milan. She arrives at the hotel and tells him to stop this and come home. He shows her the photographs and reads her Ralph's emails, specific, tender, physical, and asks her what kind of woman believes this. He tells her he has been answering as Lisa. He tells her he is not finished. Abigail leaves in frustration. He sends Ralph an email as Lisa, telling him to meet her at Lake Como on Friday evening at the hotel restaurant. On the day, Ralph goes to the trouble of stealing use of an empty apartment in his building to host Peter for dinner beforehand, borrowing money from Peter, ordering food. He is packing a bag, excited, planning to be at the lake that evening. Peter gives him whatever he asks. That evening, Ralph walks into the hotel restaurant and finds Peter waiting at the table. Peter tells him quietly that he is Lisa's husband. He tells him Lisa died of cancer 9 months ago. Ralph sits down. The waiter comes and both of them wave him away. Ralph asks why she refused treatment. Peter tells him the doctor said she did not want her body altered. Ralph says she was right. She was always beautiful, he says. She would not have wanted that. Peter says, what does that matter if it could have saved her life? Then the film moves between past and present. We see Lisa telling Peter during her illness that she has been happy throughout their marriage. He asks her to choose a place she has always loved, and he will take her there. She cannot bring herself to write it down that day. The next morning she writes Lake Como and gives it to Abigail to pass to Peter after she is gone. We see Peter and Abigail taking turns sitting with her as she grows weaker. Back at the table, Ralph speaks with a candor that is almost obscene. He says he will not claim he is not a failure, but he is very good at making a married woman feel a love she never had at home. He says he paid off his debts, that Lisa was delighted with him, that she loved him, and that the money Peter gave him has bought him a good suit and a room in this hotel. Money he will never repay. He says Peter got his revenge, perhaps, but he lived the best moments of his life with Peter's wife. Peter stands and walks out of the restaurant. Sometime later, Peter invites Lisa's friends to a dinner in her honor in London. Ralph is included. Abigail arrives at the last minute and watches her father from across the room as Ralph delivers a short tribute. Then it is Peter's turn to speak. Ralph, standing at the edge of the room, is clearly afraid of what is coming. Abigail looks at her father, not with words, just a look. Peter catches it. He introduces Ralph to the room as Lisa's friend. He gives a tribute to his wife, quiet, full, without performance. Abigail's face changes. Afterward, at the train station waiting to go home to Cambridge, Peter tells Abigail that Ralph is appalling, brave in his way, dreadful in every other. He says Lisa never quite understood him. He does not say this as a criticism of her. He says it as something he is still figuring out. Abigail rests her head on his shoulder. He looks at her with the particular attention of a man learning, at some cost, what he actually has. The train comes.